There's a buzz, there's a buzz. There he goes. Right out there, look at it, there he goes. Yeah, just got the tail end of him. This is a buzz, this is a buzz. Buzzing activity has picked up. Buzzing activity has picked up for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube.
I saw this video and I need help. What's going on? There's a part of his eyes that are fine, and then all of a sudden they do this. I'm done.
And I remember, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office.
In the police station, when he was being held down and the sergeant came over, he said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
The first thing I saw was this.
Look behind you. Insane. Whoa, did you see that just shoot across? Did anyone else see that?
Now, like I said, a lot of you have also asked, what's up with the color blue in the Maui fire? The theory is that a blue wave laser can start a fire instantly from a distance, and when it does, the only thing left standing is anything with the same color of the laser beam. Blue. Now, I know we're talking about lasers here, and at first I thought it was absolutely nuts. But how do you explain this?
A lot of things that are blue, for some reason, stood the test of the fire. That this blue car in these homes had blue in it. I mean, it gets weird. Here, blue survived it. The cloth, the boat that survived in the ocean, and these are all just the mainstream articles showing this. The boat was blue. The car that survived, right, it's still blue. And I mean, this is what they showed in the mainstream news.
Okay, guys, this is the last episode I'm going to do for a while, but it should be a pretty good one. It's things that did not burn during the fire. I went through hours of footage, and it was pretty interesting what I found. Here are the famous umbrellas. These are actually Tommy Bahama umbrellas. Then the sole surviving car on Front Street in front of the outlet mall. And I actually found another sole survivor car the other direction that's a little bit further south on Front Street. You can see.
So I was thinking, what, if anything, can I add to the tragedy in Lahaina, Maui? And basically most people have the facts. That if you've investigated this at all and watched the movies that individuals and different truth-telling channels have told about it, you know the basic facts. There's over 1,000 people missing, at least a good, probably 300, 400 at least children totally missing, not even bodies found. There's no bodies even found, even among the bodies that the government false claim, the false numbers that they're giving us, that 115. There's not and of the bodies that they pulled from the ocean, it's reported there's no children among them. So the question is where they all go. And my guess is they scooped them up with a TR-3B maybe, if they didn't just utterly incinerate them. And then what they did was get rid of any partially burned bones. Now, in case you don't, in case you're not up on this, there's no question they used satellite directed energy weapons, blue laser, to burn everything, because there was blue objects left, and there's just no question about it. And I'm not going to do a whole rundown on the truth about that. You either know that or you don't. People, have made up their minds both ways, as usual. I thought what I could contribute, though, was the similarity between the murder and lies of the U.S. government in both 9/11 and this tragedy, and of course many others. But the similarities between 9/11 and the Maui Lahaina August 8th fire are that the the press, first of all, is so obviously lying, and the government is so obviously lying that it's so huge, and yet there's this once you can, it doesn't take a genius to figure out how bad they're lying about everything. I mean, you can just see. But how few people are in an uproar about it, how few people want to know, how the vast majority of anybody that you would talk to, just pulling them off the street and saying, hey, do you know what really happened in Lahaina? And you know, there wouldn't be an outcry. You know, I mean, some people may say, yeah, you know, the answer is kind of not really coming forth, you know, but there isn't an outcry. And what it looked to me is, what stands out is that people apparently don't want to know, and that's kind of the shocking narrative about it. People don't want to acknowledge that anything like that can be happening. They want to trust the government. They want to believe that America is generally good as an overall entity.
It's not being reported right now in the news, but on a neighboring island of Lanai, they found 183 bodies washed ashore there. They found 183 bodies washed ashore.
And they don't want to acknowledge the truth. I mean, most people still can't even handle the 9/11 truth. It's to this day. I'm just shocked. I mean, it you know, and I'm shocked about how it took, just not bragging, it took me 10 years to figure that out, for me to actually believe. It took me searching for dark truth because of a personal experience with a dark feeling that I had in 2012 to actually look at the truth of 9/11 10 years later and realize that it definitely, all the conspiracy stuff that I kept hearing about and thought that they were all nonsense, turns out they're all true. They were right. You know, it wasn't the Arabs, it was us. It was America that did that to America. And not only that, but another similarity is that a lot more people than was reported overall died in 9/11. As the same with Lahaina. We know that, you know, they're claiming 115, and oh yeah, well, they've accounted for 66 of those. I mean, and there's over 1,000 people missing, really. And you know, like I said, at least hundreds of that kids, and we don't see the parents, you know, crying out of their mind, as Eric West, from Hawaii Real Estate Channel, very well put it. He says, how come you don't see parents online, you know, screaming out of their mind, you know, about their missing children, and posting, said, you know, look, if you're missing a child or someone, we want to hear from you. Post on the internet. And then you have the Governor Green and the police chief saying that, oh, don't look on social media. That's a terrible way to find out anything. Just stop using your phone. Don't use social media. Right. So you can't find out the truth. I mean, these people are so evil, you can't believe it. For a look at how many more people than the ridiculous number that they gave, 3,000 for the people that died in 9/11. Well, 6,000 if you include everything. But look at the Super Soldier Talk channel on YouTube, and you can probably get a more complete view on Rumble, because there's a lot of censorship on YouTube. So just look at Super Soldier Talk is the name of his channel, either on Rumble or on YouTube. And he has a 3-part series called Change is on the Horizon. And I've been watching James Rink since I started investigating truth in 2013. And I haven't seen any sort of deception or, you know, any sort of wrong thing that he said. And he's revealing probably more truth with his interviews and things that he's posted than almost anybody out there. But just mind-blowing information. But according to him, something like over 26,000 people, I forget, and then he also commented in that 3-part series, Changes on the Horizon, that a lot of people that they didn't know had died in Iraq, in the Iraq War. They had actually cloned, and these people are coming back as clones, but they had really died, and they have all this technology, and they're doing all this stuff, and people don't realize what's going on under the surface, because it's so unbelievable and so shocking. You can't tell this to anyone. It was really weird how, like, there's just this small number of people that can actually grasp and believe and somehow process the fact that there's this utterly incredible stuff going on, including my discovery in 2013 that it's apparently these non-humans, these reptilians, that are running everything, because I didn't have anything else on social media. I didn't post anything else except these movies about reptilian shapeshifters. And what do you know? I got police helicopters buzzing me day and night, squad cars lighting up behind me, and there's all this crazy stuff. Spending a lot of money on this, including as time went on, police cars be following me around. I bought a dash camera to prove it, and they stopped most of the on-ground gang. They call it gang stalking, which is a targeting program they use to psychological warfare you. But the air stalking continued, and that's how I knew that's how I figured out. It's not that hard to realize what it was. If there wasn't anything else that I was doing, I have no criminal activity, no political activity or of any kind, wasn't an activist of any kind. I was just a quiet, nobody entity, just working as a medical secretary for my mom and doing Hollywood jobs on the side and graphic artwork jobs on the side. That's it. And then I happened upon this after going to an anime convention, having this dark feeling, and I said I just wanted to investigate it. Nothing weird happened. It was just I just had a really dark feeling about it. And that's how I did a follow-up study on this one guy that he posted this. So I had seen these reptilian shapeshifter movies, just a brief history of what I've been through. I had seen these reptilian shapeshifter movies, and I thought they were nonsense. I thought these were idiots going nuts over little glitches in, transmission error or compression errors or whatever, But I started investigating when you can actually see beast features of claws, fangs, tiles, slit pupils, reptilian features, and you can see it, and other weird stuff that you can't explain, and shapes, and these huge mouths full of jaggy teeth that look like something out of a horror movie. And I learned how to see it with a basic video camera, but I had helicopters buzzing me day and night. Unbelievable thing happened to me, and that's how I realized, firsthand that there wouldn't be, let's just say there were no non-humans involved. Why would there be this gigantic uproar over posting stuff about purely non-humans, these non-human forms and shapes that you can see if you analyze video? So that's what really woke me up to the 9/11 thing when I saw my first full-length documentary on it. Now that I have a mindset of looking for dark truth, I'm willing to look at stuff that I hadn't looked at before, just trying to find answers to what that dark feeling I felt was in 2012. And but when I saw those 9/11 films, documentaries, that's what opened my eyes. Over 10 years after the fact, and somebody had tried to tell me in a coffee shop about 9/11, it's not what we thought, and I just said, oh boy, these lunatics, and their conspiracy theories, and that's who I was, so I'm not, blaming anybody else, but I'm just saying how it's tragic that it takes so long for humans to wake up and realize that, we have a situation here that's just unbelievable, an unbelievable stench of evil. And so the connection between 9/11 and Lahaina, August 8th, 2023 fire, is that you can see the hallmarks of our rulers, that I was just describing. I figured out through my investigations that these reptilians do in fact have us in a lockdown. It's like a prison planet. That's the term that Alex Jones uses. And speaking of Alex Jones, he's a good example of the unified structure of government that our world has, wherein all these companies can be asked simultaneously, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, all of it, to all ban Alex Jones at once, because he was the tip of the spear. He was revealing truth in a bold and clear way that like no one else was, and they had to silence him. They had to get rid of him. So they completely destroyed his First Amendment rights and kicked him off of all social media. But he actually ended up doing even better once he went on his own, because everybody saw that in the truth community and realized, wait a minute, this guy must be saying something interesting. If for all social media to be coordinated, okay, you think these are individually owned companies, but how can they have power? And that's what the thing that I'm trying to say here is that the connection between 9/11 and Lahaina is that you can see the unified structure. When I saw those police pulling up to Adam West and that other dude from the Hawaii Real Estate Channel, and they were looking at that car that was just sitting in the middle of nowhere, and it was completely burned out with the metal aluminum rims melted and the glass vaporized, and there's a little bit of melted glass so you can even just see. It was totally vaporized, so it just doesn't make sense. There's almost no shrub around it. It doesn't make sense that it was that the vehicles. And then you see these cops, like in almost no time at all. Once the movie started, like it took like maybe 10 minutes for the cops to pull up and start to give them crap and tell them that they can't be there and everything. And right when you see those policemen enforcing, and this car was in the middle of nowhere, an open road that wasn't in the main fire zone, okay. And so, and it really wouldn't be a problem, but that when you see that and you see how fast the police came, and then other people were remarking that all these different law enforcement people in vehicles that they'd never seen before were all over the place, and they put the black tarp up on the fence to block out everybody from seeing. It just you realize that there's a unified control. I mean, that those troops and everything just quickly swarmed in, took control. There's nothing anybody can do about it. There's a press blackout. The police that serve that agenda are everywhere enforcing it. There's nothing you can do, and they pull off this outrageous, evil stuff that you just can't believe, murdering people in mass numbers. And it's like it goes on, and no one can do anything about it. But these murderers and these people that are involved in this, I believe God lets it go on because these people need to be able to make a free choice if they want to commit utterly heinous and horrible acts of evil. But then there's the price afterwards, okay? People don't know that when you die, there's a judgment. Okay, people don't believe it.
This body died, fell on the floor, dead. The maggots will eat it up once you die. That spirit never dies. So, when I flatlined, I'm going to start my story right now exactly the way it was. I went to a place that had a drop-off point, and these big black gates started opening up. And what I mean a drop-off point is, imagine if you're on the second floor of a building and you look down, that's the drop-off point. All I could see is from what I could see with my eyes, and as far as I couldn't see no more. It was like an ocean of people screaming and crying. And all I could hear is, get me out of here, please. Please get me out of here.
And so that's why they obviously go on doing it, and God allows it, I think, somehow, because there has to be free choice. There has to be some kind of situation where, these people can make a free choice, and not only that, but, whereas in another situation, people might rise up and say, hey, and put a stop to it. There almost has to be a force in place to prevent that from happening, so that even more people that want to make an evil choice to, do their evil or to acquiesce to the evil of others, or, whatever they want to do, somehow that can all be experienced. That's my best guess about it. It's like somehow that has to be experienced. That's why God allows it. That's why, God doesn't judge them right away, because it's like this has to somehow exist. I don't know, what, how, or why, and how it all works, but that's the only thing I can think of, because God has the power to shut any of these people down right away, but judgment is reserved for a future time, is what you see. So I just think that, but you know, that the reality is that this is horrible, evil, non-human government in charge. That's the same ones that did 9/11. It's the same ones that did Lahaina. You can see the hallmark of they commit a crime and then they blame others for it. Okay, they did that in various wars. They're doing it to Russia now. They are the ones that started the war in Ukraine, and then they blame Russia for being the evil aggressor trying to take over and plaster it all over the news, and everybody believes the story, and they put the Ukraine sticker on the car. And they don't realize, all of these people don't realize, it's so disgusting, that it's us, it's America, and our evil government that started the war. Clearly a threat to Russia, and Russia is only defending itself, and everybody who's investigated this knows the truth and is just disgusted at all the people that, you know, pro-Ukraine, they put the Ukraine sticker on their car, and they, oh yeah, we love Ukraine, we should send more money there, and, you know, defending democracy and all this stuff. And it's like that situation has to exist for all these people to not know the truth and to support this evil, evil deed that America is doing to Russia. And because they want to take them over. Now, I've also commented on the other side of this, that God's word makes clear that the nation that will not bring itself under the yoke of Babylon, which is America, which is the world government, apparently. If you read scripture and you know what God is saying, you should always listen to what God is saying. It's the highest priority. God's word is 100% accurate, in case you didn't know. But he says that the nation that will not bring itself under the yoke of Babylon, that nation will I punish with the sword and with the pestilence and with utter destruction. So there's the other side of it, which is that if Russia is not willing to, and any other nations are not willing to bring themselves under the yoke of the world government that God has ordained, then that nation will be punished. And that's also part of what you're seeing. But at the same time, you know, from a purely, you know, from my limited human perspective, but what I can see is that, you know, America is the one that started that. America is the one that did 9/11. It wasn't the Arabs, okay? Just so you didn't know. The Arabs, there's no way they could pull that off. Okay, there's no way they could enter into U.S. airspace and hijack and everything. They have remote viewers. They have all kinds of psychics. They have chrononauts, time travel. They can see everything. They know what's coming. There's no way they could have pulled that off, even if they had the technological prowess, which they don't. You know, so it wasn't the Arabs. It was the U.S. apparently in some kind of, you know, joint operation with Mossad. God knows who else. But you know, so. Nothing is as it seems, but the characteristic of outrageous, unified news and government lies, the same as in 9/11, the same as in Lahaina. It's the same source. It's these reptilians that I believe are former fallen angels turned into beasts, the same as the scripture describes Satan. It's the ultimate conspiracy, by the way.
Guess what I also am? I'm also a member of the Cabal Draco that just burned Maui, Hawaii. I'm also a member of the Cabal Draco that just burned Maui, Hawaii.
If you want to know, the ultimate conspiracy is Satan and his fallen angels attempting to destroy man. But it's all part of this process of people, if they want to choose evil, they can choose evil. They have that opportunity. So I think that's really what's happening. But, you know, still, it's an outrage. I still, you know, I mean, even knowing all that and the kind of like the bigger picture, the fact that, you know, these, you know, people lost their homes, you know, and their lives, and, you know, it was our own U.S. government that we're paying our taxes to that did this, okay? Don't be fooled, friends. It's sanctioned by the U.S. government. Do you think if this attack on Lahaina, murdering all these people and burning their houses, of course, sparing all the mansions on the beach, you know, Oprah and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, you know, all those people, all those kind of people's mansions on the front didn't get burned, but all the regular people were fried, and the indigenous people of the former capital of Hawaii. But I mean, just imagine if you were, you know, one of those people, how angry you would be that, you know, and the insulting, you know, $700 per household, and then for a further aid package to Lahaina, Biden wants another $25 billion to Ukraine, which is I was just watching. They probably almost certainly that money actually isn't going to Ukraine. It's going to our military-industrial complex to pay the bills and other people that need bills paid. That's all what that is. And then getting people to totally in an unrighteous fashion support the government sending more war aid to Ukraine. All these ignorant, stupid people that are doing this. All those people that are supporting it, even though they're ignorant of the main facts. So you say, well, they were ignorant, they didn't know. But all those people who continue to support that, even so, are guilty of allowing that. And judgment's coming. Judgment's coming to America. Many people have seen it. In case you didn't know, Jeremiah 50 and 51, Isaiah 13 and 14 describes and tells us that absolutely, without any doubt, America is the Babylon. That is the whore that stands on many waters, the hammer of the whole earth. And its judgment is coming. In a single day, it says her judgment will come, and all the nations will stand afar off, watching her burn, and they'll be weeping and wailing because there's no one to buy their merchandise anymore, because Babylon was the main consumer of all their various merchandise that all these countries produced, whether it's Japan and China for electronics, or other nations making cars, or other people making clothes. We're the main consumer. We have the most money. We buy the most stuff, although China's rapidly catching up. But the fact of the matter is, it looks to me like probably, and I don't know how it goes down, but it says the North country will be a coalition of the North country. North country does kind of sound like Russia, which is maybe why the U.S. is so eager to try to provoke them, or wear them out or something, because that is what the scripture seems to say, that the North country sounds like Russia, and a coalition of the nations end up burning America in a single day.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They get a cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They get a cure with the sickness.
And I remember, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office.